Welcome to Breaking the Silence. You have a voice. I am your host, Lady V, and we have one hot topic on today. We're going to be talking about the turnover on the Roe versus Wade. Now, years ago, it was Roe versus Wade. Now, we're having the topic on Roe versus today. When is it or is it ever okay to abort a child? And so we're going to talk about that today. We know that there's a little bit of a controversial opinion, some controversial opinions on it, but we want to hear what everybody has to say today on it. But before we start our show, I am going to introduce my panel guests. We have one of my hosts. We have the beautiful Pastor Melanie. Girl, you listen. I remember when you asked Leisha how you do that hair wrap. You got that thing down pat.
Just learned how to do it yesterday.
Really, it is really cute.
It looks nice.
Now, Lisa, my cousin said, I think the comment that she made, she said it was some leggings. I tried it. It actually, for those ladies that want to know how to do hair wrap, leggings is one of the ways that you can do effectively head wrapping. So that's just a little nugget, okay? But we also have
For the head wrap, what way?
leggings.
Oh,
Remember, she told us that leggings. She said you just cut the leggings down and there you go. Now the leggings are looking at Minister Isaac. He's like, really? Okay. So moving right along, we have the most distinguished gentleman, Minister Isaac, Doctor. How you doing there, friend?
What's up? What's up? I'm doing good, doing good. I'm ready. That's all I got
You
to say.
ready?
I'm ready.
You just ready?
I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. And moving right along, we have the beautiful Silvadia. How you doing, girl? What's going on?
Hey, Lady B, how you doing, sweetie?
I'm doing good. Did you do some baking over the holidays? Did you make some peach cobblers, some banana
I
pudding?
did not. I did devil eggs and pork chops and hot dogs, and we went over to some friend's house yesterday and just enjoyed ourselves over there.
All right. Okay. See, I want to be like you when I grow up and learn how to bake because I've never been known to be a baker. The last time I baked the cake, it caught on fire. Don't judge. Anyway, I didn't get it from my mama. But speaking of beautiful, I want to introduce the beautiful Dr. Yvonne Bennett, who is also my mom. How you doing there, mom?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Everything's
She be
good.
rocking some hairstyles. I'm gonna tell you, she be rocking
I'm
some
working it.
and the makeup. Her and dad went on a little. Can I tell you business for a minute? They went on a little date. Y'all, they look so cute. They were so adorable. I'm telling you, they doing it for 58 years. I want to be like that. Well, I'll be like 100 and something. Okay.
Listen, you have to, if you only have 5 hours, make it work.
There you go. There you go. And we have Reverend Jay. How you doing? I can't introduce you as a guest anymore because you're not a guest. So how you doing?
What's going on?
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Y'all got to catch his show. What's the name of your show again?
Let's talk about it with Reverend Jay and Joy.
All right. And speaking of Joy, we have the beautiful Joy. Now, listen, I just introduced her backstage, but she is Reverend Jay's sister. And I said, I just really, really love it when I can actually watch young people grow to be such beautiful adult people. So welcome to the show, Joy. We're so glad that you came to be with us today.
I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here. Should be fun.
All right. So we're going to dive right into our topic. We're going to talk about this because I don't know about anybody else, but there's a lot of angry people out there because of this turnover. Abortion is no longer legal in the country. Back, I think, Silvadia, you said 1973. It was Roe versus Wade, and it made it where women had the right to abort a child. And now, after all of those years, they made a decision and they said that women are no longer with that right. So, when is it or is it ever okay to abort a child? That is the question.
On to who it is. I mean, because see, here it is. This decision, okay, of course, it's supposed to be based off of religion and state. However, it really is not. But it all depends on who it is to and for. Now, when you look at it from the church side, of course, church side is going to say no, it isn't. But then this law is not only for the church; it's for the world. It's, let me say, it's for the United States. So, however, it's not directed towards one group or class of people. It's to everybody. So here it is, just like, okay, I'm going the LGBTQ, okay, just like the state is against that, but it's not geared towards one set group of people. It's to all groups of people. So here it is. A woman has a right to say whether she wants to or not want to, regardless to what the church has to say, and see what the and it yes, the church and some people in the church can be against it, but it is still that right of a woman to decide whether she wants to or not, whether she's in the church or not in the church. But the thing is, where they are forcing a decision on women, where here it is, the Bible gives us a power of choice. God isn't going to make us do anything, but here it is, the law is deciding for us.
Okay. Okay.
I want to make a statement about that. I want to make sure that we understand the context of what Roe versus Wade was. Roe versus Wade was the ruling that was passed to legalize abortion.
Correct.
Even this ruling today, it does not make it illegal. It took the constitutional right of choice away.
It is illegal in like 20 states.
No, because remember that yeah, we gotta wait till Yvonne to finish her song over there. No, the court remembered that they moved it down and said that the states would decide on whether it is, but federally they just pushed it down to the actual court. Then they took the right of choice away federally and pushed it down to the states. And then for those states that is illegal in those states, that is where, yes. So I just want to make sure that we got that definition correct. Pastor Jay, you was about to say something. I just wanted to make that point.
Oh yeah. I want to say, it's a shame that people always want to try to use religion. Where again, I may be a novice in the Bible, but I didn't see nowhere in the Bible that the Bible talks about particularly when the child is actually born or not conceived or not conceived. It don't get no particular number. So in this situation, we need to. This is my philosophy. If the Bible don't talk about it, we shouldn't try to interject the Bible in it, because there's many times people try to use a Bible and religion to make somebody live a way they want to live, but there's nothing in the Bible that talks about abortion per se, or when a child is actually born or not born, or at what month or what day is considered to be conceived. So that's what I want to say.
Okay.
I'm going to say this, and I think the reason why the Bible, when it starts getting into the church, because what abortion does, it terminates pregnancy. So here it is, the moment that the sperm and the egg actually unite, that's when a child is being formed. So what I believe people are against is you are a person, you're killing a life. And so that's where, even though the Bible does not talk about it, but and they go back to the commandment, thou shalt not kill. So here it is, when you terminate pregnancy, you're killing an unborn child.
Okay.
Understand that. But again, people are using religion with nothing really to back it up, saying that the Bible does not say anything about a child is born that in particular. And again, and there's many instances in our lives where the Bible is not specific. That's why we have a personal relationship with God. And again, so likewise, when it comes to abortion, I believe that again, it's a woman's right. And even religion, the church should not really have a voice because the Bible says the Bible does not says thou shalt not have abortions. I believe that God is pretty smart when he made the Ten Commandments, and he was direct about what he called a sin and not a sin. That's what I'm saying. That again, so people should leave the Bible out of it and just have a discussion of whether what you believe and what you don't believe, or what you agree with or what you don't agree with, and leave the Bible or religion particularly out of this discussion.
So you're basically saying that.
Yvonne.
So you're basically saying. I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying. That from a biblical standpoint, it is not clear on whether or not abortion is correct or not correct. So let me ask this, because the Bible says thou should not kill. So when we say that, and I'm going to bring this out, when is it technically that a baby is there? When is it a fetus, or is it certain months? When is it where that baby is a baby and has a right to live?
So I'm gonna say this. If we can go by the Bible about a pregnancy, whether a baby's fetus, that means we shouldn't have let's say that capital death penalties, where we have a right to kill somebody.
Okay.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say we're going to use religion against a situation where a child that's not out of the womb yet dies, and then if we feel the person has committed a grievous crime, that we can go ahead and say, no, we're going to kill this person. We're not going to let him die on his own. We're going to kill him ourselves. Murder is still murder.
Murder, still murder.
So,
Okay, so
all I'm saying that because some people have used religion to say whether they for it or against it. I'm just saying, because the Bible is not clear in this, and again, where the Bible is clear, and I say this in any situation where the Bible is clear. Let's be clear. Sin is sin. The Bible is clear about sin. There's no argument about sin. Now, in the Bible, there's some things that we can argue about whether it's sin or not. And I say, when those come up, a person needs to go to God and have his own personal convictions and let God do with him. But we can also, when it comes to stealing, we can say that's sin because the Ten Commandments clearly says, "Thou shalt not steal." I'm just saying that to get clarity or get at least a discussion about this argument, that we should take the religion part of it, because a lot of people are using religion to back what they support, not particularly what's right or wrong.
Okay, so let me say this. Yvonne.
Let me read this, and then Silvadia has her hand, and I think Joy. This is a form of slavery. This is a low directing slope towards a greater divide between rich and poor. Okay.
No, it's not. I highly disagree. Has nothing to do with the rich or the poor. So let me break this down. Let me actually break this down. I'm gonna give you two viewpoints very quick. Number one, first and foremost, as a minister, as a believer in Jesus Christ, it is totally wrong for me to impose my spiritual belief into law that ultimately affects a whole group of people. That is wrong, because the word says, with loving kindness have I drawn thee. And even God himself says that we have a free will to choose him, or to choose life, or to choose death. So even God, being all that he is, does not force himself onto us. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, this is bigger than a law issue.
It is.
Because when you do the study, it's already proven that by year 2035 that the Caucasian race will be the minority. Okay. And also, when we get into the data, when we get into that, it'll show that white women get that 36% of white women get abortions. 38% of black women get divorces. 20 odd something percent of Hispanics get abortions. 18% of Asians and others get abortions. So since it's proven by the data that by 2035 that the Caucasian race will be the minorities, and even though that blacks have the highest number of percentages, when you look at the raw numbers, even though that Caucasian woman is 36%, the number of white women having abortions far exceeds any other race. Okay, so this is the effort of not allowing the white race to become the minority. So it's bigger than it, and you have to do deeper study. You have to do deep understanding of why this law came to pass. Even when that mayor or House of Representatives, I can't remember her name, when she told Donald Trump that I am proud of you for choosing conservative judges because you did something right for white life. I don't care what nobody say. That was not a misquote. That was a direct data effect of choices that was made.
Silvadia?
I just think it's to each his own. I try not to step off into that loop, especially when it comes to religion. When it comes to religion and Christianity and all that, I am one to first to say, mind your business. Because what goes on under my roof, with my body, with my household is my business. I don't live for the church. I don't live for your religion. This between me and my God. Secondly, for me, I'm not having a baby when I was raped. I'm not having a baby by a cousin or a father. And I give you an example. The movie I watched, I did a little research over the weekend. And one of the movies I watched was a young lady who was disobedient. She turned 18 years old and she wanted to leave. Well, her father didn't want her to leave. So he trapped her into a basement and raped her and kept her.
Oh, yeah. The girl in the basement.
I think 3 or 4 babies.
Yeah.
That right there is an act of needing an abortion. That's going to screw up those children as well as that young lady. That was a sickness in his head. That's between him and his God and whoever else he serves. But I think it's dependent on the circumstances. I think they need some type of rule. And I don't think Christianity needs to have anything to do with that, because at the end of the day, when I go to heaven or hell, I'm going by myself.
Right.
So, but for me, I was 12 years old when I had my first child. I wasn't hot. I wasn't a loosey-goosey, whatever you want to call it. It happened. My mom tried to actually find an abortion clinic back then. That's been 32 years ago. She didn't know where to go. That I ran away because I wanted to keep my baby. I didn't understand sex at that time, but I understood love because I wasn't getting it home. I understood pain as well because that's what I was getting at home because I was an abused child. So for me, I think it depends on the circumstances. I don't want Roe Wade or whoever else legally to tell me what to do with my body, because I guarantee you, if my 22-year-old daughter come home and tell me that she was raped and she's pregnant and if she chooses to abort it, I'm going to support her, because that right there is the reason why we have so many people, men and women, who are disturbed in this world when we are birthing children who ain't right in the head, and the cycle continues. So but on the other hand, when you got females out here, and I talked to a young lady today, I knew a young lady who had actually 10 abortions. That was back in the 90s. She was an addict. She was a crackhead addict. So my point is this right here. We need a system that is built that keeps up with that across the board. When I tell you, if you go to Louisiana or if you're here in Virginia, they should be able to put in the database your name when it comes to an abortion clinic and state, oh, you've already had 5 abortions. What's going on here? Because some people get into it where it's a habit and it's a lifestyle, meaning you out there doing what you're doing, but you're not protecting yourself. We got to hold ourselves accountable as women to say, hey, I can't afford to take care of this child. There's free condoms, there's free birth controls, or you can get your tubes tied, whatever the case may be, you have to take responsibility for your own body.
Joy?
I totally agree with her. I was thinking about the same thing. I think the same way they did with medication, where all across the board, if you go pick up a medication, some Oxycontin from one place, it goes into a database. If you go to another pharmacy, they can see, oh, you've done that. I feel like women who take and abuse it, abuse abortion and use that as a, like, oh, well, you know, I slipped up, let me go get an abortion. I do think they need to put something in place for that, so that we can try to rear that in. So they're not using that as something like, oh, I can just get that. Go ahead and have that done. Also, I believe also with rape, with incest. I was watching some YouTube thing on incest this past weekend. Didn't realize it was as widespread, and that these people are out here really, you know, sleeping with their own children, sleeping with their nieces, their, you know, and they sometimes these kids end up pregnant. And the thing about it is, if you're forcing those mothers, because a lot of times they're young children too, and they're getting pregnant by their father or their brother, and they're like 10, 11, 12, 13. And these children sometimes have birth defects. And I'm not sure if any of you ever seen anyone who has a child that may not be all there. And a lot of times those parents, their biggest worry is that, oh, one day I'm not going to be here to take care of that child. And I'm not sure how that child is going to, who's going to step in place, because it's a lot. It's a lot for parents. God forbid, a young mother. Also medically, a few years back, I had to get an abortion because I didn't even know. One, I didn't know I was pregnant. My husband and I had no idea. And I would go to the hospital, and I was having, like, my joints and everything was all jacked up. I barely could close my hands. I could barely walk. It felt like cement was on my legs. Go to the hospital, and they're like, we have to admit you immediately. And they're like, your hemoglobin is like a 5. Low is a 7. They're like, we're surprised you're still walking. You could have a stroke or anything. Come to find out, I was pregnant, and I was already really, really bad, have really bad anemia. So everything that my body was producing was going to the baby. And they were like, you won't survive. I had to have, like, I think it was 3 blood transfusions at that time. And they said, we think you should have an abortion, because at this rate, we're not sure where this would, how far the pregnancy would go along, and how you would, you know, come out at the end. So these are things that happen to women. And the thing about it is, now a lot of women are getting pregnant later on in life, which causes for there to be more, you know, possibilities for things like that, for mental illness. I know years ago, mothers of friends I have, they said they got abortions because they were told, and you don't get those information until I think you're about 4 to 5 months, that your child may be have really bad disabilities and stuff like that. Now, at this point, yes, there's a full heartbeat, you know, where you're a few weeks out from possibly being able to tell the sex of a baby. But do you force a woman who says, I'm not capable of taking care of a child who have, you know, some really, really bad disease? And I think that the country is at the point, and I've read something else, that they're looking into affirmative actions, you know, desegregation. They're looking at a lot of stuff that they're trying to put back into this whole Trump of a make America great again. So I think they're just trying to take steps and seeing where they can get away with it, and seeing, okay, well, maybe we can clear this. Maybe we can clear this. Maybe we can clear this. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, I think a woman should have a choice, because my thought process is this: if you're not going to take care of the child, or a person, look, for example, as a minister of the gospel, if somebody came to me that was a stripper, and she got saved, and she asked me, hey, should I stop stripping just because I got saved? I would tell her, you need to go talk to God about it, and let God direct you, and let God lead you. Because the day I decided to make a decision for her, I should be willing to take responsibility of her livelihood, or what goes wrong or what goes right. So I think that until you're willing to take care of responsibilities of what goes on with people, like if a person have a child and they could die, and they do die, is the country willing to start forking out money to take care of the responsibilities that come that because of a decision that we decided to take on. We should let people have this. When it comes to people's bodies, we should let people have their own choice.
Well, I'm gonna say something. I want to piggyback off of something that Silvadia said real quick.
Dr.
I I feel that when you and this is my only thing with abortion, it cannot be a form of contraceptive.
Correct.
Right.
So my thing is, when you make an adult decision, no matter what the dynamics is, if you're going to have sex, I can't tell you what to do with your body. I can't tell you. We would all love to tell our children or whoever don't have sex. But the bottom line is people have sex. So my thing is, there's a before thought before an abortion. And you already know that if you're going to have sex and you don't protect yourself, that there is a strong possibility that you may get pregnant. So the only thing I say is, when it comes to right to life, think before you do things, because once you make that decision and you so carelessly do it, I'm not talking about rape, I'm not talking about molestation, I'm not talking about any of those things. I'm talking about you just freely go or your own will and sleep with someone. Make an adult decision to not get pregnant. Now, there are times where people are on contraceptives and they get pregnant anyway. Then that's where your body, that's your choice. But you have people that are constantly using pregnancy, they use abortion. Well, if I get pregnant, I'll have an abortion. If I get pregnant, I have an abortion. No, abortion is not that is not a form of contraceptive. And so that's where I kind of have to sway over to us not making a decision, but just causing our people to be responsible. Like, you made a decision to do something irresponsible to make a decision that's more irresponsible, because that is irresponsible. So just be responsible all the way around. Now, we like to say, well, you shouldn't be having sex at all. I can't make that choice for people, but I can say, if you're going to make that choice, then be responsible, so it doesn't even have to get to that part. And not only that, abortion is not, always the healthy thing to do. When you have abortions, it has some repercussions. Mm-hmm. So you have to think about that too. You may want to have some children down the line. So you have to make responsible decisions before having sex with somebody. That's all I got to say. Go ahead, Mom.
I want to take it from the Christian aspect. First of all, God gives us the right. And when you're given a right, you can't split a right. The Bible says, choose you this day whom you're going to serve. That's all I want to say about the Christianity part. In lieu of that, if a person, me being a Christian, came to me and said to me, look, I'm in trouble, I had sex, I want to have an abortion, my response to that person would be, the decision you make is the one you have to live with. Mm-hmm. That's all I want to say about that. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to a right, you can't split a right. Whether a person has one abortion or 15, the consequences you don't get to choose, but you get to choose to have a chance to make the decision. You cannot tell people what to do. My heart bleeds for this 10-year-old girl in Ohio. They said she cannot have an abortion. She was raped and she's pregnant. And they're saying that she cannot have an abortion. I think it's unfair. I think her parents should be able to make that decision for her, because she's a baby herself. Mm-hmm. I don't think a woman should be forced whether it be rape, consensual, or whatever, because it is their body. It's your own body. But once again, Lady V said what I was going to say. There's emotional trauma. There's a lot of things that go along with that. A lot of people are not able to make that choice and that decision because a lot of them are mentally unstable. But still, in all, you did it. Now it's up to you to make the decision. I don't think you can split a right just like God. You can't split a right with God. You either want to be saved or you don't. That's it.
Yep.
You can't go to God and say, well, I don't know. No. You either do or you don't. And it's the same with this thing. If a woman gets pregnant, I think she should have a right to decide what I'm going to do to this body, unless she's like this 10-year-old child. Her
Oh yeah.
parents need to make that decision for her because she's a baby. She don't know. She really don't know. She was raped. Now what?
Yeah, I agree with you there because
Mm-hmm.
you're absolutely right. Here it is, the law. They're making a decision for me where I don't have the right. And here it is, we're in the United States and we're supposed to have freedom of speech. We're supposed to have rights, but here it is, they're taking away a woman's right for that. Now, like we were saying, okay, this has been overturned. And we know that there are other things in the works that they are working on to overturn. And getting back to Roe versus today, I think about it and it's really sad because here it is, a woman who may have an ectopic pregnancy. They're saying she can't do the DNC because that's considered an abortion, where here it is, if she doesn't, this can cost this woman her life.
That's right.
That's right.
They're making a decision for me, but and this is the sad thing, this can be a matter of life and death. So what they're saying, I don't care if it's a matter of life and death, you're not getting it at all. It's just really, really unfair. But this is something where people, we need to get out and vote, is what
Yeah.
we need to do. But one
Yeah.
thing I am happy about is that it is not illegal in all states, because here in the state of Virginia and DC, a woman can have an abortion up to the second trimester. When it comes to the third trimester, I know our governor, he is working on over 20 weeks getting that. So another thing I have heard is that, of course, you have a lot more people who are going to other states to have this done.
Yes. And what's amazing though is because of our foolish laws, because of our selfish politicians and selfish people that we have put into office, it has caused other countries to make abortion easier in other countries. When the U.S. is supposed to be the leading country that actually lead in when it comes to moral things and having freedom, we are learning, or today, and even in a society that we supposed to be wiser, that we supposed to be wiser, that we're making dumber decisions. And it even goes back to because we can take this so much deeper, because we can take it to where men purposely impregnate a woman, where they take off the condom or they do something foolish, or a woman purposely get pregnant by the guy because she puts a hole in the condom or whatever that she chooses to actually do. That's a even deeper conversation into this as a well. But I just wish that we as a nation, we as a country, that we stop using religion as the crux to why that we're making decisions.
Right.
Because I go back to, at that moment, you are forcing something on people that they did not sign up for.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to religion, I think so many use God as the first word before they make their statement, to put fear in someone's heart, and that's
Yeah.
not fair. That's not right. But for me, the same people that's voting against this situation are probably the same people who got a problem with people living on the welfare system. You know, our tax dollars are paying for this and that. Well, guess what? Well, if she can't abort, guess who's gonna be paying for it? Because she ain't ready to be a mom yet.
Right.
The taxpayers are.
Right. Right.
No, you're absolutely right, because when you look at it, and women who are not able to get an abortion, okay, so you look at this, and this is what I was saying, because to be honest, it's really fearful, because number one, you're going to have more women, I believe, who are going to try and do abortions themselves, which
Yes.
up,
Yes.
you know, detrimental to them. Not only that, but like in the situation of incest, or like what Joy was saying earlier, where you do the DNA test when you're pregnant, and you can find out
Mm-hmm.
if the child has Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, it's different, spina bifida.
Mm-hmm.
These are just to name just a little bit of what the doctors can find out when the baby is in the mother's womb. Now, here it is, this woman is pregnant. Then she finds out that your child is not going to be normal. Here it is, you have a disabled child. So, what is the strain going to be like, either on a single mother who may have a lot of kids, or even a couple who, I don't know if I can handle it. So here it is, we can end up with abused children, or we're going to have more children that are going to be left up for adoption. See, I don't think the full picture, people really thought about that. And here it is, like what you were saying, Sister Saveda, here it is, the taxpayers' dollars. Because now what's going to happen in the adoption process, or children who are going to be left up for adoption? Or another sad thing is, look at how many times people have had a baby, and what did they do with the baby? They left the baby in the dumpster. Or I think we're getting ready to deal with a lot more
Yeah.
than we even realize.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
take.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was listening to the stats. I was listening to the stats from Dr. Isaac, and those stats are accurate. I also, part of all this, I believe it's a setup, because when, like Pastor Mel said, if you say having an abortion is illegal, it's going to take the women back to the hangar. So now you're going to lose lives. You're going to lose lives. I never heard the sophisticated word abortion when I was younger. I didn't hear that.
Mhm.
Back in the day, they didn't know that word. They didn't know that word way back then. I was in high school, and they just called it getting rid of a child. That was the terminology. And I never forget, I was on the phone at my mom's house getting ready to go to school, and they said that Joyce just died. And I said, just died? I mean, Joyce was an adult. She was a little older than me. I said, what happened? They said she tried to get rid of a baby. I mean, it's going to take women back to that, because women are not going to stop getting rid of a baby just because you say it's not legal. If they don't want that child, and then let's go back to the Down syndrome, cerebral palsy.
Mm-hmm.
If you take it to the religious aspect, you got people that say, no, it's still your baby. But are you going to be there to raise this child? Are you going to be there to take care of this child? Because you have no idea what it takes to take care of a child that is, and I hate to use this terminology as a professional, but I have to, that is abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and speaking of self, oh, go ahead, Pastor.
And the reason, I think, really, if anybody, the women should really work hard to change these laws when it comes to abortion, because you must understand, when they make it to where one state is illegal, another state is legal, guess what happened? Insurances.
Okay,
It's going to become a money game, because guess what? As soon as they know you're from another state, that the abortion is probably $500.
They'll deny it.
It's going to become just like pain pills. If I can't get it at this doctor in this state,
I can go there and get it. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Get them.
But I
That's
do
what
wanna say
Pastor Mel
this.
was saying in regards to cerebral palsy and all that kind of stuff there. I worked in managed group homes from 99 to 2014.
Mm,
These group homes are children that parents didn't want them because they was special need. Anywhere from Down syndrome to just couldn't walk on their own, couldn't talk, whatever, you name it. So before I became a manager because I was reporting abuse from the staff.
mm,
We talking about sexual assault. We talking about beatings. You name it. I came in and I changed this facility around. However, my point is this right here. The entire time I was there, it was maybe one or two parents that came to visit their children on a regular
There
basis.
you go.
Some of them ain't seen their children since they've been born. So you leave it again on somebody else's problem.
So
Exactly.
Now,
And-
okay, but I want to say this, okay, and I'm going to speak on two things. You know, when I was pregnant with my daughter, and y'all all know Jennifer, the doctors had diagnosed her as, because I was always the person I am now. You know, I had accumulated too much alcohol in my bloodstream, which has spilled over to her, and I could have made the decision to abort, but I think about it now because they said that she would be born with Down syndrome. And when she was born perfectly fine with nothing wrong. And when I think about that, I'm like, so what if I had aborted her? I would not have known
Nope.
what she could have become. Now I look at my other daughter, who is bedridden, who drowned in her mom's fluid, who never will probably walk, talk, but her mom chose to have her. And every single time we go and see Tahira, it's a new experience. You know, I know my husband tells the story about the time that he actually realized that Tahira could understand what she was saying, what he was saying. And every time we go to see the light on her face when she sees her dad and how excited she gets every time he comes around. And I think about it, I'm like, do we have a right to take a life just because somebody is not going? Because here's the thing, you got people that walk around every day with their own life, with their breath. They have the opportunity to go to work, they have the opportunity to do so many things, but we take life for granted. But here you have this person who does not have that opportunity, but every opportunity she has, she smiles. So that's the only problem I have with that, is that sometimes we choose to do something and we don't realize that when you make a choice, again, this is a life. This is a life. And do I have, what if God wants this child here? What if God, now in Joy's situation, I get it. You know, when it comes to life or death, sometimes everybody has a right to their choice to what they're gonna do. But when you make a choice, you gotta know within your heart, you know, because when I look at Jennifer, I'm like, wow, you know, what if I had her? You know, she wouldn't be here, and my grandsons wouldn't be here. And then when I look at slavery, how many of our ancestors were raped? How many of our ancestors were taken advantage of? And how many of our ancestors got pregnant? If they had aborted, we wouldn't be here.
Well,
That's true.
I believe that
I can't live according to what if.
Yeah.
I can't do that because what would kill me more than anything? Now, a baby being in my womb and I'm impregnated by, let's say, if I had that type of father, which I do not, or if I had that type of any type of relative or somebody on the streets that raped me. Do you not know how much I could not love that child because I'm thinking
exactly.
how much it is of the person that abused me?
Right.
Even now
I
to this
totally
day,
agree.
I don't go through any of that. But it is so hard for me to forgive even people that just piss me off on a regular day. It takes me a couple days to get over that. So, but you know me, I'm gonna keep it real 100%. But
And I totally agree. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when you look at the whole picture, you got to look at the whole picture
I'm looking
because
at the
there's
whole picture.
so
And
many.
but I think
if
I
I was
agree with you. I
today,
would never want to have a baby by someone that I don't want to have a baby with. But I'm saying that in that situation, you know,
that's
I would,
that's a what if, because I know your daughter and she's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's smart. We talk on the phone. I love her.
Guys,
However, I thank God that she turned out the way she did. But when she was in your womb and weeks, hey,
but see, I didn't find out until I was 7 months. But go ahead,
Right.
Joy.
Normally.
Go
The
ahead.
truth of the matter is, Yvonne's situation was different because she had a praying mother.
Mm-hmm.
She had a praying mother. In fact, if the truth be told, that thought was in her head. Am I right?
Right.
And I said to her that morning, coming down the stairs from the attic, "You're pregnant." "No, I'm not." I said, "Yes, you are. But the blood of Jesus."
come through, Dr. B.
Truth. Everybody don't have that.
yes.
Right.
All right? Everybody don't have that. It's still a choice. Because I know a girl right now that has a child, and the child is he's about maybe 7 or 8 now, and he's Down syndrome. She wish she had made that choice back then, because it's like a vegetable. Now, I'm gonna tell my truth. I don't believe in telling my baby's truth and not my own. My baby girl would have been 50. She was intelligent, super A student. It was 37 years ago today that she drowned. She drowned on the 5th, died on the 9th, homegoing service on the 13th. She was a vegetable. And the doctors said she would never, ever recover. That is not giving God glory. My prayer when I went to that restroom at that child center in Alabama, I said, "God, heal her or take her home." And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Joy.
And I'm a firm believer that if God wants a child to be here,
Right.
that child's going to be here.
Come on.
My story, I got pregnant at 15. My mother was like, "No, we gonna get this done. We gonna take you to the chop shop. We getting this done. There's no way."
I don't say it's a chop shop. Stop it right
That's
now.
what my mom said. Take you to the chop shop. We gonna get this done. She wasn't gonna tell my father. My father's a pastor. He would have been totally against it. And I understood the fear of a mother. You know, at that point I was looking at possibly going to the Olympics. So my mother had bright dreams, as most mothers do, for their children. So she was looking at a way she felt like she can fix it.
Right.
She takes me to the doctors. The doctors tells her, "Oh, she's way too far. She's 6 months. We can't do that process." Then my mother got to the point she felt, "Okay, well, the next thing, we'll give it up for adoption." And me as a mother, I was just like, I can't fathom having a child in this world and me not being there. Even though this is not something I anticipated. It's not something that I thought of. I wanted. I thought, I was going to go to the Olympics and, do this and do that. I wasn't anticipating that.
Right.
But when I tell you, and my father sat there, and my father found out, he cut all that. He said, "No, we're going to keep this child. We're going to raise this child. If I got to preach holding the Bible in one hand, my grandchild in the other, if the people in the congregation don't like it, they could go on and let, somebody else pastor them." But, and the thing about it was, and that spoke to me so much. And when I tell you the child that I have, God, I tell people all the time, I could not have went to heaven, picked out a child, and that child be better than the child that I have. And when I tell you straight A's, she's in college now. She's an engineer major, intelligent, never had not one day had a problem. I mean, this child always been self-sufficient. A beautiful miracle from God. Now, and I get it. My mother, she thought she was doing what she thought would be right for her child.
That's right.
But God, when God says yes, can Nobody said no. And that's my
And
I
that's the
believe
thing.
with
And
God.
she
And I
and
totally
she
agree
and
with
she
you,
had
Joy.
a great
Like, look, I
grandmother.
go back, I
Yes.
go back to, I go back to
That was your
Jennifer.
grandma.
You know, it was definitely for Jennifer to be here because
Yes.
even after
Yep.
my mom said I was 7 months pregnant, but they said no, you cannot, you can't do this. But the thing is, right after that, I never forget. I went to this youth service, and it had to be about 2-3 thousand young people there. And this man that was up there, I didn't know him. He told me, he said, "Come here." He knew me from nowhere, nobody. All these, I remember the outfit I had on and everything. And he said, "Tell the pregnant lady to come here." And I was like, first of all, I didn't want nobody to know I was pregnant. So when I went up, he said that the child that you're carrying, I want you to know it's a girl, and she is going to be all right. Only God knew that.
Yep.
Only because at that
That's
point,
right.
somebody had to ease my mind that
Right.
my child, here I am, I'm like, I can't have an abortion. My mama and my daddy ain't gonna, they gonna, if even if I want to, they ain't gonna happen. But God knew my heart, and he was like,
Yep.
I'm gonna ease your thoughts. It was Dave what's his name? Dave
The
Demola.
move.
Mola.
And he
Okay.
said, the child that you're carrying is going to be a great warrior for the Lord, and she is going to be born healthy. That man didn't know me from a can of paint, but that child, Jennifer, should have been here. So a lot of times I do agree with you that sometimes we don't understand, we
Right.
don't know, but if we're even trying to do that, God's going to block it. He's going to block
Yep,
it.
sir.
He's going to make sure that that person is there. But all I'm saying is, when you make a decision, you have to make sure that when you have sex, abortion is not a contraceptive.
Right.
Yet.
Well,
Gosh.
let me say something. I think on the part of adoption, we got to stop acting like adoption is like the best option.
Right.
Because if you hear some of the stories about some of these kids get adopted in some of these homes, they go through horror stories.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
They go through horror stories. So we got. I understand it's a better, maybe a better option than abortion, but we got to stop
But
acting like
sometimes it's not the
adoption is this
best option.
great option where, like, it's
That's
going to be a
right.
great time for
That's
most
right.
people. Some people, they probably wish they were not alive because of what they go through.
Yeah.
You're 100% correct.
Agreed.
Working at the Promise House in Dallas, Texas, we housed at that time. We housed children who was in CPS custody, parents, and whatever for the house for that. We had no clue whatsoever that a couple was actually looking to adopt a teenage young lady, only on the purpose for the husband to be sexual intimate with
My
that.
God.
So you have to be careful. You have to be careful.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I
I
also
want
want
to
to
say
make a
another thing.
statement.
No one should have a right to stop someone from choosing their own picture. Like, Ronnie, you had your different experiences. Each person have their own choice. A person should at least get to make their own decision. Now, again, you may never know what's going to happen after you make that decision, but everybody should have a right to choose the decision so they can live with it and not be saying, "Oh, you can't have the decision based upon what somebody in a black robe who won't live your life or is in your environment," because most of the people that's making the decisions don't live in your environment. The
Amen.
same people that are talking about let's not ban rifles are not in your world, so they're not going to be affected by the decisions that they are making. So
You're right.
We ain't gonna get onto the gun laws. So we're gonna stay away from that. Gonna stay away from that. Okay. So but let me say this: it's amazing that these old white men make decisions for women, and has yet made a law about these same items concerning the man.
Say it.
So
go ahead.
I find that amazing that as men we want to tell women what they can and cannot do. That is not so. That is so far. That is so prehistoric that it's ridiculous. So So I agree, even though that some people may think that it's crazy, but even in these states that now it's legal for a woman to walk around topless, you know, like people that don't understand equality, they say, "Oh, that's stupid. A woman should never be doing it." But we're speaking of equality. If a man can walk around here and nothing is never said, his nipples are showing, his chest is out, is all that, then why can't I?
Oh, stop it, eyes. Now, that ain't
Because that's what Paul
No,
said.
I am speaking. No. I'm speaking of equality. I'm not speaking about the sexual part of it. I'm speaking about
Yeah.
equality.
That's
So
true.
if you're gonna do something equal, do it equal across the board.
Across the board.
Across
Right.
the
Yeah.
board.
The question. Okay, if a woman can't get an abortion, then it should be legal for men to get a vasectomy.
Or
Okay,
at least
so I have a
rapists and
question.
There you go.
molesters
So
to
There
I
you
have
go.
a
have to
question.
get.
So in bouncing off of what Minister Isaac just said, so if a woman you're saying that she should have the right to have an abortion, should a man have something to say about it?
Okay. So that goes back to what I said earlier. If a man is being tricked into um pregnancy, which meaning he is using all of the proper techniques to prevent pregnancy from having, which means he's using condoms or whatever, and that woman, like I know of cases that women have gone and taken the condom out of the trash can and taken the
Oh,
semen out and inserted it into themselves and got pregnant just like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Call it turkey basin.
yeah,
Right.
there you
No,
go.
that's
So
not my
so
question. Let me stop right there.
so hold on. So hold
My
on.
question is, if a woman wants to have an abortion, because the child belongs to two people.
Correct.
So if a woman wants to have an abortion, no matter how the child got here,
Mhm.
how the child was conceived, does the father have a right to say no?
Okay, let
So
me
I
say
think
this.
she's gonna.
I wholeheartedly believe it takes two. You should be an adult, be responsible. And I'm not, and at this moment I'm speaking about adults. I'm not speaking about people that's been taken advantage of. I'm speaking about adults. Be a woman and come to that man and say, "Hey, I'm pregnant. This is the choice that I would like to make. But before I make this decision, what do you think?" And I think that's responsible. Responsible. I'm not saying that man is making the decision, but that's responsible. At least give that man the right, the onus to say, "Hey, I want your input," and that's responsible. I
I
would
agree.
never say. I would never say that a man can say, "No, I want to keep the child. If you have it, then you give me the child." If that happens, that actually works out. It's cool. But at least you were responsible enough to go to that man and say, "This is what happened. This is what we created. I would like your
But then the question is,
input."
But the question is, what if he don't want it? Okay, after explaining to him and all that, and once again, she's gonna have to make sure that she can deal with her decision, because on the next step of that, after he gives her all of the reasons why he don't want her to, she may be given ultimatums. Can she live with the ultimatum? If you have this abortion, I'm out. Can you live with that? Once again, she's going to have to make that decision, and the decision that she makes, she's going to have to be able to live the consequences. Because 9
I
times
think
out of 10, she's going to be the one to raise this child.
I agree. The Dr. Bennett went a little deeper. I think the woman still have a right to say yes or no, due to the fact that just like a guy, a woman is not going to tell a guy if he's going to be. She can't really force a guy to not have a vasectomy, they call it, or
Right.
not. He can do if he wanted to. So I think because it's his body, and likewise, if it's the woman's body, and she has to actually carry the child, she has to go through all the sicknesses. And the truth about it is that when it comes down to it, if the child's born and the guy leaves, the mom will be there to raise the child if she has to. So I think because of what we see in the history in the past of how men just leave, the woman should have a total right to say yes or no if they want to have abortion.
Someone wrote something about educating the young people, and that's true about pregnancy and all that. But let's keep it on the lines of adults. When before two people decide to get married and they go for marriage counseling, all of those things should be in place. Talk about it. What if I get pregnant? And what if I decide that I don't want another child? What if? Are you willing to have a vasectomy? Or is it okay if I have an abortion? All these things should be discussed beforehand. That's where the whole falls out of the bag with a lot of these couples. And that's why the divorce rate is so high, because things aren't covered prior to getting married.
You know, I actually will say this.
It's a double standard then. Okay.
Well, look at this.
For a minute. Because basically what we're saying is a man doesn't have a right
to say.
Listen. Man doesn't have a right to say whether or not because once a child is conceived, it becomes our child.
Right.
So a man doesn't have a right to tell a woman. Now, I'm not talking about rape or anything like that. I'm talking about that's consensual sex. A man doesn't have a right to say whether or not a woman has the baby. But when the baby is born, you want him to be responsible for the baby? Is that what we're saying?
I'm saying this.
Yes or no? Is that what we're saying?
No. Look at this. The woman has to carry the baby. The woman has to go through all the process of what it takes to bring it forth. Now again, I think just me. If I'm taking just an example of myself in my life. In my life, if I take most of the responsibility of something, I get the final word at what I'm doing. Likewise, when it comes to pregnancy, the woman is going through the process. The woman is going through the pain. The woman is going through the woman's going to the doctor's appointment. So I just think, out of fairness, like if she's going through all the hard work of the pregnancy, she should get a right to say whether she, just me.
True. Well, okay. So hold on. Look at this.
Reverend J. It's Reverend J.
You don't have a child outside of wedlock. Trust me.
That's why got pregnant, and it's our child, not yours, our child. And she says, "I just want clarity." And she says, "I don't want to have a baby."
Oh, yeah. Me? I was okay. Okay.
She is absolutely adamant. I don't want to have no more babies. I don't know if y'all have children, but I don't want to have a baby. I'm on board.
Well, I feel that he does have a right. As a father, he does have a right.
Yes.
To
marriage is completely different.
Speak his mind. He has a right.
That's what I'm saying. So you're saying in marital covenant only.
Let's get about marriage. Right. If I lay down with somebody, I know what happens when we have sex. There's a potential, like choices. There's a potential you can have a child. Let's speak to all the children out there. If you have sex, there's a potential. You got a child. We don't need no more sex education. This is fact. If you have sex, there's a potential you will have a child. So if you don't want to you want to reduce the chances of you not having no child, don't stop having sex. Bottom line.
Period.
Discipline yourselves and don't have sex. Number two, so again, look at this. If I accept somebody, I know the chances of that we can have a child, which means that we would talk. And I would give her the respect of her being able to make a decision if she don't want to have a child or not, or if she want to abort or not. I would.
Okay, Josh, let's make a hypothetical, okay? Because looking at it, all right, say you step out on your wife. Hypothetically, your side mistress, she gets pregnant.
Okay.
You're going straight to the clinic.
No idea about this.
Let me drink a little tea on this.
This is what happens in real life. I know.
I got $400.
Break it down, Joy.
I don't want any more children. And guess what? I know these women had these kids and took that man right to child support, and then they get upset with the father because he doesn't like. He's like, I didn't even want this, and now you try to force him to build some type of relationship, and there's a lot of resentment there. Then it becomes bitterness. But Josh, okay, you have a mistress. She gets pregnant, and you tell her like, look, I have a wife. We have kids together. You know what it was. I'm not leaving my wife. What and can you please get rid of it? And she tells you, no, I'm keeping this baby.
He flying to Louisiana and get that abortion. That's what
I'm never teach it.
Oh boy, I drink a whole bunch of tea.
In that situation, to begin with, in that situation, I already know that the chance I take that if I have sex, there's a chance somebody might get pregnant.
He's gonna get pregnant. That's right.
So guess what? Me personally, if she's wanting, like, whether I want to keep it or not, it's gonna be a messed up situation. It doesn't matter.
Okay, hey y'all, hey, look at this, right? I want to say this.
I can choose. You ask
I'm
me.
gonna say this. My ex-wife asked me if I would get the vasectomy versus her getting her tubes tied.
Mm-hmm.
I agreed. I got the vasectomy. Now, was I hesitant? Yes, I was. I'll be very honest with you. I was hesitant. I actually went 7 times before I actually had it done because I was just that nervous. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. I was nervous. Look at this. Look, and the 30-minute process is so easy. It happens so quick that you don't even know that it. Look, I was talking to the doctor, and he had already sliced and diced me, and I didn't even know it. But honestly, so being in a committed marriage, I do believe that the processes and the thought process is completely different. Because even I did a Sunday conversations with a couple that the husband asked his wife, "Do you want to abort this?" But he asked her that based off of her mental stability that she was displaying at the time of his care and concern about her. And he's a minister. So he asked his wife that a question because also understanding the physical torment that his wife's body go through when she's bearing or when she's carrying a child. So with that, I do think that the dynamics when it comes to a marital couple completely is different because it's a lot more that goes into that. I do like Jennifer's question about that. Should insurance companies be more lenient? Yes, and I'll definitely tell you, the moment I said that I want to go have a vasectomy, they paid for it right then and there. They didn't. But however, on the flip side, what I disagree with it is that if a woman only has one child, it's very hard for her to get her tubes tied before a certain age. I think that's wrong. If this woman has said this is the only child I want and I want to get my tubes tied, she should be allowed to get her tubes tied. Right. I don't think that a doctor has the right to tell me that I can and cannot say that I want my tubes tied or I want a vasectomy because I was asked. I was in my 40s when I got my vasectomy. I was asked, "Are you sure that you want to do this?" Right. You only have, the doctor only thought I only had one child. But even he said, "Do you have 2 children?" I said, "Yes, I do have 2 children." But still, I'm 40 years old. I ain't trying to have no more children. And so still at that age, I was still kind of questioning into having, but the insurance company paid for it quickly.
Mm-hmm. But to answer Lady V's question, should the husband or the man be allowed to ask to comment? Absolutely, he can comment. He can say,
"I think birth control should apply in a marriage as well." I mean, if 2 people, I don't care if you've been married 55 years,
right?
If you guys have agreed that children is not what you don't want any more children, either or should take some type of form of birth control.
No, what I'm saying is, no,
Agreed.
I'm answering Lady V's question. Should the male have a right? Does he have the right to say, "I don't want you to get an abortion"? Is that what you asked?
Yeah. Well, I do know too. Well,
he has the right. Wait 1 second, Doc. He has the right, but once again, it's like torn in between 2 opinions. That woman is going to have to decide: can I do this again?
Exactly.
Can I do this? She's going to have to decide that, regardless of whether he comments or not, saying, I don't want you to do this. Now she's going to have to pay the consequences. We go right back to, the consequences.
Yes.
Go back to the alternatives.
Yes.
Can she handle that?
Right. Now I know of two couples that told their husband, I do not want any more children. The wife said that. The wife said, I do not want children. The husband didn't have any. The wife graciously compromised and gave the husband what he asked for. They got a divorce. Both women said, this child is yours. You can have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they were committed in their commitment. They said, this is what I do not want. I no longer want this, but I'm going to compromise because you don't have any children. They got a divorce. The child went with the dad.
Well, see, this go back to really in the beginning, where again, you need to ask these questions before you start getting married and say, okay, do I want any children? And if a person says no, guess what? You should listen to them and say, this is not the person for me, because you should never be in a situation or a marriage where you got to force, should be actually begging somebody to do something they don't want to do. And nobody should be in a marriage had to be forced to do something that they really don't really want to do. That is so consequential.
Yeah.
But what happens in a situation like that is that people think that they can change the spouse's mind.
Yeah.
And eventually, maybe they'll change their mind. Or if I start bringing kids around, maybe sometimes people know automatically, oh, I just don't want no kids, period. No, I'm not my mind.
Even at a young age, having my children, I knew at the second child, stop it right now, which I did. I end up getting back then what is called a nerve plant, which is it's a thing that you put in your arm. So it was supposed to last for 5 years. It did last for 5 years. So I go back to get it taken out and to get a new one in. Well, they could not pull it out, to make a long story short. So here you go, years and years and years on down the road. My daughter and my last child are 11 years apart. I don't think I can get pregnant anymore because when I was getting ready to get married and me and my fiance was trying, I couldn't get married for nothing in the world. And then here come Adriana's dad, who her dad is today.
You mean pregnant, not married.
For Sunday, and voila, we developed Adriana. I cried and cried. Adriana's dad was like, he was in college. He wasn't ready to be a father.
Oh yeah.
You name it. But anyway, she's the best daughter ever. Mm-hmm. She's the best daughter ever. But what I'm saying is this right here. Even when he said he wasn't ready to be a father because he had another girl pregnant at the same time I did.
Oh yeah.
I got on my grind. I was working 100 million jobs. But at the end of the day, I made it work. My baby is a senior at Prairie University right today, and I don't regret it. Do you know? Now, she got a boyfriend now, so I don't know if she's still a virgin, but she's 22. But I know at 20, she was still a virgin. But I'm just saying that to say this. All my children are a blessing. Mm-hmm. And I love them no different than one another. But me and that firstborn, baby, we rocked it. Do you hear me? We rocked it because I had him at 12. So he went through the struggles. And that's why to this day, if I call him right now, if he got $5, I got 50 cents of it. If he got $2, I got $1 of it. But just describe on how close we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it just depends on the situation. My sister, I had to give my sister credit, Patricia. If it wasn't for her, you won't be looking at me. She kept my kids while I finished school. You name it. Mm-hmm. My support system was God and my sister, Patricia. And that's why a gift to her was my home that I had built in 2006. When I left Texas, I gave it to her. That was appreciation for saying, thank you for being there for me. But
I have a quick question. Do you think it's wrong for a woman to get her tubes tied and don't say anything to her?
Yeah.
To her
yes.
Okay,
yes.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's all the way wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a decision that needs to be made between if it's in a marital relationship. That's a decision that needs to be made between a husband and wife. Just like if he gets a vasectomy and doesn't tell the wife, that is so wrong.
I was just about to say that. I know some guys that when it got vasectomies. I know guys that when it got vasectomy and never told they are spouse.
To me, that is
got her going over there going
my
crazy.
original
She thinking something
question.
wrong with her.
It's like, so you're saying that no, a woman should not get her tubes tied without consulting with her husband, but it's her body.
That's right.
No,
It's
a
no
man-
different than a man should go get a vasectomy without consulting with his
Okay,
wife.
but even if you consult, if the other person does it, because it's like, to me, that's a double standard.
Now look at this.
Because,
Look at this.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
According
No,
to
it's
the Bible,
not. And
according to the
the
Bible.
reason that is not a double standard. The reason that is not a double standard, because marriage, you become one. So and also as a man, I submit my body to my wife. As a wife, you submit your body to me. So because of that, so hold on. So hold on. Because of
to have a baby, it is her choice. Ultimately.
ma'am.
It's not
In marriage, I have to disagree when it comes to marriage.
Okay, so that's
a
why I asked the question. Nobody really answered it.
That is a complete. No, I said it. I said marriage is completely different. That's a true conversation. And that's why I use the example that I know of a couple that the husband asked the wife, "Do you want to have this abortion?" Because he understood what she was going through. He asked the question, and she said no. Okay, cool. But they were in tune. But then guess what? God blessed them because
What did she say? Okay, so what if she had said yes?
Right.
He said if she had said yes, he would have fully understood, and he was all for it.
No. See, Lady V's question is a two-part. What if the husband does not want her to have an abortion, and she wants to? Okay. Now,
but marriage is
she wants to, and he don't want to.
Okay. At that moment, oh God,
It's her body still.
At that moment, in marriage, remember I said this, as a husband, I submit my body to my wife.
Now
she submit her body to me. Hold on. No, I'm saying this is marriage. This is marriage. This is marriage. You are one of the reasons why you get married is to procreate.
That's not true.
That's one of the reasons it is to have children.
Well, the Bible says, this is what the Bible says. The Bible says in marriage, the wife's bodies is not hers. It belongs to the husband's. The husband's bodies is not his.
It's not his. It belongs to
the wife. So again, when it comes to in marriage, any situation.
Wait a minute, Rev J. So what happens if a husband and wife got this type of situation where the husband is raping? Because I know women that's been raped by their husband, even though they married.
That's whole different. That's
different. That's different. And also that's based on the state laws. You have to look at this. That's based on state laws. Because there are some state there are some state laws that say that a husband cannot rape his wife.
But
if the husband is, let's go to the Bible. If the husband is not submitting to the wife, in a sense, where again, the submit don't mean that I have rule over you or she have rule over me. No, I love her. I treat her well, just as I treat myself. If he's raping her, that is wrong. That is wrong. And I believe
that's abuse too.
That's abuse.
Go back to my
still not answering the question.
Right. My question, let me make it more clear. I get pregnant by Derek. I can't get pregnant. I can't have no kids. Yeah, I do.
But just said if you did.
But I did. I got pregnant at 57. And I decided, and now I go to him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, yay!" And I'm like, "No, I have not having
a baby at 57."
And if Derek says yes,
in marriage, there would have to be a conversation, because the Bible says the wife's body is not hers. It belongs to the husband. The husband's body is not his. It belongs to the wife. So again, this is where you must come together, talk, and come to agreement. Now again, he has a say so, but like myself, I would give the woman the right. So, you carrying a child, you make the decision. He can do that, or he can argue with you. But
Right,
again,
because not
but
all
again,
husbands.
Brother Jay, that's not always the case.
About them fools out there.
Yeah, that's not always the case.
But
Because
okay.
I was my second husband, wanted a child. And I knew I was gonna do this, man. And I told myself after I had my daughter, I said, I will never ever be a single mother.
Stand him.
Ain't no way.
Go ahead, Derek.
It's hard. It's real hard. And I say, unless I'm the only time I'm gonna have a child with another man is if I know we're gonna be together and we're gonna be together forever. No matter. And he was like, I want a baby. You can't tell me you my wife. You obligated. And I said, bruh, first off, I'm not gonna be your wife for long.
Period.
So,
Come on.
we're not about
Come on, Joy.
Yes.
Let me drink some tea, Joy.
That
Come on,
part.
Joy.
we're not gonna bring a whole nother child. And I say, and I told him, I said, and if you force me, if you
Oh Lord, Devola, you asked some of the stupid questions. That's stupid. Come on now.
if you
Let's be
force
smart.
me to go ahead and say, look, I'm gonna impregnate you, you're gonna keep this baby. And I told him, I said, when I leave you, please understand, I'm leaving you with this child. You don't, and he was like, how dare you? You what kind of mother would you be? The type of mother who told you, I'm not gonna be another single mother out here struggling with a child because
Amen.
you felt like you wanted the fantasy of,
No.
I want Joy to be pregnant and I want her to carry my baby. And yet you out here living your best life.
Yeah.
And I'm at home now with 2 children. I'm like, that's not gonna happen. My thing is, I feel as though women now you can have now you guys have a really healthy relationship, really healthy marriage, and you know you guys. But like Dr. Bennett said, I think these are things that need to be talked about. Like, well, you know, what are we going to do if you know some women after having a first child they can't handle it, their body can't handle it. I've seen friends who were like dead dogs sick, constantly having miscarriage after miscarriage, and they have to make them and their husband had to make the look. We can't. The type of thing that your body goes through just trying to create a child is not healthy for
That's
you.
why men need to be quiet.
Look at the Bible says this about marriage.
Sensitive, and I
Husbands,
think that
love your wives as Christ loved the church.
Say it.
If you got to find somebody that love you, that will be on board with you to help you make the best decision possible for you and for the rest of the family. Again, that starts at the beginning of a relationship, not when you're talking getting pregnant. The problem is this: we don't do enough research. We don't ask enough questions. We don't get enough information on the person. We don't even know if the person really loves us. So when it comes down to the hard question,
booyah.
I know what my wife would say if that happens, because I know she loves me and she cares about me, and she knows what I would say.
What she say, Red? What she say?
Hey, you know what? Don't look at this, right? Look at this. I look. This is something I've said because I've had my vasectomy for so many years. If someone got pregnant by me, that is ordained by God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that. Listen to this. I'm gonna say that. That is ordained by God. I just have to say that. And
Same
I
here.
am one that no longer want children. I'm 50 plus, and I don't want any more children. So if someone got pregnant by me, that is ordained by God. So
Dr. Isaac, Dr. Isaac, I have a better one than that. If Bishop and I'm 76 years old, and I find out that I'm pregnant, and I go to Bishop and tell him that I'm pregnant, Bishop Bennett's going to say, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. A miracle has happened. And I'm going to say, and miracles happen, yes, but miracles go away.
Miracles go away, exactly. So, but then, hold on. But look, I just want to say this. We've had a very, very, very respectable, informed conversation, and I love it. Devola, look, sometimes you say some of the worst things, but it's okay. I understand that that's you, and it ain't even called for because forget that. I told you I was going in today, so I'm going all the way in. Sometimes asinine comments don't have to come from the peanut gallery. I'm just saying, especially when informed information is being given. And so it just says what quality of person that you are and not. Okay, let me just stop it right there because I will read you up and down and sideways, child. Let's go.
We're gonna have to vote on the show one day.
Uh,
We're gonna let y'all go at it. But listen, y'all. Look at.
Better go catch your man somewhere.
All right. So
Hey, listen.
You guys, this has been such a great show. Oh my God, we're gonna have to ask the pastors to pray. But this is all what it's about, y'all. We just love y'all. But anyway, you have been watching Breaking the Silence. This is what we do because everybody truly, truly has a voice. But we've been talking about Roe versus today. This has been really a great show talking about is it ever okay? Is it, or when is it okay to abort a child? And I was really surprised because I didn't think that I was going to get the feedback from my panel as I did. But this has been only you can't trust the number now. Woo! But anyway, we have had I am your host, Lady V. We have had Dr. Isaac, my other host, Pastor Melanie Davis, Dr. Yvonne Bennett, Silvadia. We've had our guests, Joy, and Reverend J, who is not a guest, but we're gonna next week we are going to start on our conversation with the singles. So y'all get ready because we're gonna talk about some single stuff next. We're gonna come off of this topic and go into singles.
I don't know if I want to be on that topic. That's a heated and loaded topic.
But we're gonna have different people on the panel because we want to hear what the singles have to say. But until then, Devola, we love you. Is never ever a dull moment. You have been one of our really great followers, and then she's gonna call me when we get off this show. Okay. But we air every Tuesday at 6:00 p.m. and Eastern Standard Time, and we want everybody to come on the show, share with your friends. We air on the Caribbean channels, we air on Facebook, we air on YouTube, and we really, really want to know, your comments. We embrace your comments. Check out Reverend J on Friday. Him and Joy, they have a really, really terrific show.
Thank you.
I'm gonna watch y'all Friday. I'm off. What time?
What's your show?
Well, this Friday, we're not gonna have it this Friday because I'm going out of town, but we're gonna do it on Thursday. We're gonna talk about should a baby daddy feed the other baby daddy's kids?
Oh Lord! Yes, I can answer that. Yes. Hey, Rev J. Hey, put inside of our private chat. Drop your link inside there, please.
Definitely, I can have you on my show. We have you on the show, definitely.
And the name of this show is Let's Talk About It, and it airs 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, correct?
Yep.
So y'all check it out because their show is really, really hot. So
this Thursday, I will be there in the comments.
We'll be there. You're going to have the whole peanut gallery on there making comments.
Now, Reverend J, God is still working on me now, so bear
yes.
He's still working on me too, trust me.
Right?
Listen.
Devola, you are invited because I know that you're going to have something to say.
Listen, that's a very good topic, though, Rev. I'm going to tell you that's a very good topic. I've been on both sides of that coin, which meaning I've been on the side where it was my children and versus somebody else. We may
have you come on then. How about that?
I'm telling you.
Okay, cool.
You want the whole
I will be there.
We'll come on there.
I will be there. I will be there.
You're welcome, eh?
All right, well, we'll talk about that backstage. Don't nobody go nowhere.
Don't jump off.
This show. So, again, you've been watching Breaking the Silence, and we appreciate everybody coming on. But until next week, always remember, you have a voice. We love everybody. Bye. Love you, Devola. Love you, Jennifer. Bye.
Take care. Have a good day.
Okay. Yeah. Vaughn, where you go? What did Vaughn? she removed herself from the show.
We're still live. Hang up.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye.
We still live.